From Princess Lanes in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, it's the 22nd and final Open Division qualifier of the Brunswick World Team Challenge.
A sold-out field of 84 teams has joined us here at Princess Lanes in Pittsburgh to contest the final qualification spot for the Silver Legacy Grand Championship event. And hello, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Princess Lanes. I'm Mike Jakubowski along with Earl Anthony. And Earl, our number 3 qualifier, made the biggest move, H&B Ball Factory.
They definitely made the biggest move. The question is, can they keep that momentum going? What they've got is a very young team with actually no television experience, so we all know how important experience is, but momentum is also a key. They have that.
Meeting them in our semifinal match will be the team from Unique Embroidery.
This is another team without a lot of television experience, but they do have one thing exceptional. They have Lon Marshall, the 57-year-old PBA champion, could be the guiding light they need to get them through that opening match and into the championship.
And after that opening match, our championship match will feature Track Incorporated.
This is a team that dominated from the very beginning. They took over the qualifying right from the start, never let up. And this team has an outstanding group of talented players on it. They're definitely the team to beat today.
21 teams have already qualified for Reno. Who will join them? We'll find out. After this telecast, our semifinal match is coming up next here on the Brunswick World Team Challenge.
Right, why is bowling my favorite sport? No matter how bad a shot you throw, you never lose your ball, and it always comes back to you. There are never any rainouts, and striking out's a good thing. Bowling allows me to keep up with old friends, and also it gives me the opportunity to make new ones. It's a lot easier to hit one pocket than it is 6.
I don't have to set up my own pins or keep my own score anymore. Everyone's a winner when you take the family bowling. Join in the fun. Take the family bowling this week.
The Brunswick World Team Challenge is brought to you by the American Bowling Congress and the Women's International Bowling Congress, providing championship service to sanctioned leagues across the United States. Make sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies. By Contour Power Grips, the pioneers of the finger grip industry. More pros choose Contour Power Grips. You should too. By Lynn Shoes. For the performance approach, it's American-made Lynn Shoes, the choice of top professionals and amateurs alike. And by Brunswick. Bowling is sold on Brunswick worldwide.
Welcome back to Princess Lanes for Brunswick World Team Challenge action. And H&B Ball Factory will open up the match and start on the left lane. Jeff Leaphart will lead off. 19 years old, qualified at 201 and change.
Very, very young team. Jeff, the captain, and starts out with a good shot with the 6-8 for left-hander, and not a great beginning, but it was a good shot, just a little unlucky there. Idea here is to slide the 6 across into the 8 pin, so he'll probably play across the lane, let the ball hook across the lane, and just nip that 6 pin. See how he handles it.
And going wide, 8 outs, opening shot, opening frame for H&B Ball Factory out of Columbia, South Carolina. Now we get our first look at Lon Marshall leading off for Unique Embroidery out of Lansing, Michigan.
The Buddha. Big Lon. Known Lon for a long, long time. Used to bowl league with Lon back in Tacoma, Washington, 30-some years ago. And he hasn't changed a bit. Still throwing strikes.
And Unique up off their feet early. So important to build momentum early here in the Baker system.
Well, the nerves have to be a little on edge for this young team here, this H&B team. They made that big move we talked about. They really made a run at it. They had a lot of enthusiasm go on and adrenaline go up. Now they're on national television. Let's see how they handle that.
And H&B on the board with a strike. As we take a look at our Contour Power Grips starting lineup brought to you by the pioneers of the finger grip industry for Unique Embroidery. Marshall struck to lead off. Chris Jones, Scott Smith, Chris's Sand and Marshall round out the lineup for Unique Embroidery. And here's Chris Jones qualifying at 198.8. for Jones.
And there's a look at some of the good fundamentals that Lon Marshall has put into this team. He's been teaching these young guys how to play this game, including his son Chris, and you can see that they all have the good sound fundamentals. They get to the foul line very well.
Jerry Horn for H&B, and a double. The Contour Power Grip starting lineup of H&B Ball Factory: Leaphart, Tommy Jones, Jerry Horn, Curt Guinn, and Randy Weiss. Now Scott Smith up for Unique Embroidery. The 3-8 on his shirt indicates that he will bowl in the 3rd and 8th frames for Unique Embroidery in this 2-game Baker match. Total pins decide our winner.
And another good shot here, just a little unlucky not to carry the 10-pin. The ball just a little bit late, but well played. He's going to get another bowling ball, stand to the left, use as much of the lane as he can with a ball that won't hook, slide it across lane into the 10.
Smith in his 6 games of qualifying, 642 and 596 series, on top of the 10-pin. And an 11-pin lead for Unique. And if anyone should happen to bowl a 240 game or a 450 series on today's telecast, the High Roller Tournament Series, sponsors of our high score bonus, will pay $500 each time one of those occurs.
What we've got here is synthetic lanes and synthetic approaches and synthetic pin decks, and the lane oil will move fairly rapidly on this, and it'll change the shot as they continue to bowl. And the players that can adjust to that changing shot the most or the best are the ones that are going to end up winning this particular tournament. And that's where experience is a major factor. And of course, Track Incorporated show that they have that kind of experience and the capability of making those kind of moves. All through the qualifying, they dominated and right into the match play, and they led by well over 300 pins, Mike, going on to the telecast.
And Chris Sand now for Unique Embroidery, the only player with previous World Team Challenge TV appearance. Qualified at 204.
Very strong game here. Good player, gets through the ball extremely well.
A lot of power from the left side, and a strike for Sand.
Notice the only guy who didn't get up was Lon Marshall. He's conserving his strength there. When you're 57 years old, you don't jump off the bench unless you really have to.
12-pin advantage in the early going. First of 2 in the Baker system. It's our semifinal match here on the Brunswick World Team Challenge. Now to the anchor players. Randy Weiss for H&B. Solid shot from the anchor.
What a great release, too. Stayed with the shot real long, a good long extension through the ball, and that's what created all that back end. The longer you keep your fingers in after your thumbs out, the more rotation you get on the ball.
Captain.
Just take a look at that. Look how long he stays with that shot. And you can see the long follow through, tremendous rotation on the ball, and a good carry angle.
Chris Marshall for Unique. 4-pin high.
This is Lon Marshall's son, Chris, and he himself a good bowler, a postal worker, but a fine bowler in his own right, and he learned a lot from the old man. Dad was a good teacher. Lon Marshall with tremendous amount of not only bowling experience, but knows lane conditions. He was the lane man for the PBA Tour for a number of years.
5 frames in the books from Princess Lanes, and more of our semifinal match when we return to Pittsburgh on the Brunswick World Team Challenge. Welcome back to Princess Lanes. 6th frame, H&B Ball Factory. Trailing by 12, can cut to 2 with a strike. And a nice mixer. Leaphart coming back after leaving that 6-8 back in the first frame.
Not often you'll see a left-hander playing this deep, this extreme angle. He's in around that 4th arrow. You can see the ball going right over the 4th diamond, the center of the lane, out to about the 10 board and bringing it back, and that takes a pretty strong wrist to rotate it that much. And here's another look at Lon Marshall. Watch how low he gets at the foul line, that long extension, stays down, chases the ball with his hand. That's what gives him good direction. That long reach toward his target.
It's 2 sweet pocket shots for Marshall as well.
He's been doing that all throughout the match play. Here's another look at that style of Lon Marshall. See how he lays it out and gets his body out in front and chases the ball? It takes a lot of strength to do this, physical strength in your lower body, your legs, especially when you're a big man like Lon Marshall is. Tremendous ball reaction there. Ball ran right over the 9-pin spot.
Tommy Jones struck back in the second for H&B. And repeats in the seventh for a 3-bagger.
I'm surprised at the scoring so far, Mike. I didn't expect it to be this good. I think it's outstanding that they're making these many good shots. Here's another look at that last one. You can see it creating a lot of ball angle here, and once that oil starts moving down, it might get a little tricky. That same shot might not react quite the same way, but right now they're taking advantage of that fresh oil.
Chris Jones, 7th frame for Unique on a strike. Took a nosedive, carries, and a double for Unique Embroidery.
The Joyzy Squasher, high in the head pin, crossing over, got all 10 of them, and that's what counts.
2-pin lead for Unique Embroidery. First of 2 in the Baker scoring system. Will turn around and switch lanes after game 1 and bowl a second game, and total pins will go on to face our tournament leader, Track Incorporated. A bit high and carrying, and the strikes are coming.
Good heavy roll in that ball. That's what creates that kind of carry. And the ball's rolling real strong like that. It just kind of pushes the pins rather than tossing them high up in the air. Here's a look. Watch the ball hit high in the head pin, but it continues to roll through the pins, and it creates that kind of pin action. If the ball is sliding or skidding at that point, it would cut through the pins, and you get the split. But it's rolling real hard there.
Jerry Horn clears the deck for 4 in a row for H&B. Back to Unique, 8th frame, and Scott Smith.
Our first really tough spare, except for the opening frame when we had the 6-8 from the left-hander leading off. But this is a very tough spare, the 3-6, 9-10. And ideally, you want to get the ball between the 3 and the 6 pin with enough rotation on to carry the 9 out. So the ball can't deflect and miss that 9 pin. You've got to have it driving through to carry the 9. See how he handles it. He'll play it probably from the left, use a lot of the middle of the lane, throw it out to the right, and hook it back. Perfectly done.
12-pin lead for H&B. As Curt Guinn will step up here in the 9th with a chance to extend to a 5-bagger and a 22-pin lead.
Set it up for the anchor man, and that's what it's all about. Get the guy you got on the bottom in a position to really add some pins up for you. And this is a good shot here. Pin in the pit.
Carries him on that 240 bonus. It's looking good at the moment. Sponsored by the High Roller Tournament Series. Chris Sands struck back in the 4th for Unique Embroidery.
Have a look at the power in this wrist here at the bottom. He really gets through the ball well, and this good free arm swing kind of reminds me of Parker Bone III on the PBA Tour. Same basic style, good balance at foul line, a lot of ball speed, good strength, good balance.
And a sweet result, 10 off the deck for Sand.
Here's another look at that in slow motion, basically. Now watch the power at the bottom, the good balance. He's out over his knee. You can see how hard he's trying with a look on his face to get that ball through in time. Look at that great follow through, that elbow straight down to the floor, hand straight up. It means he went straight through the heart of the ball. He didn't go around it with his elbow. Go around it with your elbow, you get that kind of a release right there, and that result. The ball doesn't finish for you. Now there goes the money, Mike, that you were talking about, that $500. But here's another look at that shot. And he's kind of coming around the side of this one instead of going straight up through the back, and that's what happens. You get the ball out to the right when that happens, and it doesn't get back. Tough spare here. Switching balls, go to a spare ball, hard and straight. And that's kind of a disastrous end to what was working into being a great opening game. Puts Unique with a chance here in the 10th frame to take the lead.
Opening 222 for H&B Ball Factory. 235 the score if Unique can go off the sheet.
It's Chris Marshall. Oh, he really played it well, but it just overhooked for him. He got out of that ball really well, and I think he was kind of surprised that it hooked that much. Remember, the lanes will change. Here's another look at that shot. He's right over the 15 board or the 3rd arrow, and it's just hard to look a little bit earlier than he expected it to, and leaves basically an easy spare. Very fortunate there. Could have been a lot worse. Not able to take advantage of that mistake by H&B Ball Factory, but Unique right in the match. Only 7 pins with a strike here will separate these two teams in the opening game, Mike. And like you said, we've got another one coming.
And a couple of pretty good starts towards the High Roller 450 bonus. 215 with a clean fill. Noses again.
That one really hooked. Completely missed the head pin left, so he's going to have some adjusting to do on the other lane.
Opening game, 222 H&B, 212 Unique Embroidery. 10 pins as we'll turn things around for game 2. We'll get a look at some of our other finishers in match play here in Pittsburgh. Bowler's Choice Pro Shop finishing 4th. Tiki Lanes finishing 5th out of Lancaster, Ohio. Tylol Incorporated. Ed Schuler and the gang from Bristol, PA. Team HYD from Tonawanda, New York, finishing 7th. That's Janet Piesinski in the middle. Brother Jim on that team as well. JJ's Smokehouse out of Columbus, Ohio, finishing 8th. A-Plus Family Bowl, finishing 9th. And rounding out the field, Huck Finn, finishing 10th out of Albany, New York. Back with game 2 of our opening semifinal match when we return to Princess Lanes.
The greatest players in the history of bowling have always chosen Contour Power Grips. Legends such as Earl Anthony, Dick Weber, and Don Carter. Today's top professionals also select Contour Power Grips to help them get the most out of their games. Future Hall of Famers Mike Albee, Parker Bone, Pete Weber, and hundreds more. Tomorrow's stars such as Jeremy Sonnenfeld, the first bowler to record an ABC-sanctioned Perfect 900 series, also have seen the success of players using Contour Power Grips.
I use Contour Power Grips because they give me a smooth feel, a clean, consistent release, and give me the edge that I need.
Contour Power Grips, manufactured by the pioneers in the finger grip industry, Pro Sports Systems. More pros choose Contour Power Grips. You should too. Ask your Pro Shop professional for Contour Power Grips, the grips that legends use.
Looking for more strikes and more bowling fun? Then look no further than Going for the Gold with Team USA coach Fred Borden. As today's top instructor, Coach Borden will show you ways to reach your full potential. Professional bowlers Mike Albee and Leila Wagner work with Coach Borden to show you the sure way to higher scores. This 12-lesson video is available for only $24.95.
Mike Jakubowski and Earl Anthony on lanes 37 and 38 here at Princess Lanes, where H&B Ball Factory won that first game, 222-212. Embroidery down 10 pins, and Lon Marshall with a pair of strikes leads off in game 2.
Well, he's making it look easy, I'll tell you what. He's playing extremely well. Lon just going to the foul line very smoothly and getting the ball out in front of him very well. You got to be out there bowling on that senior PBA tour. He looks pretty good.
It's the 57-year-old Lon Marshall. Perfect thus far, 3 strikes. Now Jeff Leaphart leading off for H&B.
Young man likes to turn it up, plays inside, sends it wide.
And a good mixing strike.
Yeah. I'm very impressed with this young team, how they're reacting to their first time on television. And here's another look at the young left-hander. He sends it wide, watch the ball rev up in the end, and create all that great pin action you talked about, Mike. That's just power. Power in the wrist strength. Make the ball rotate like that.
This Unique Embroidery team, everyone except Chris Sand bowls at Royal Scott Lanes in Lansing, Michigan. So this is a team that bowls league together.
Well, that's where the embroidery name came from. They actually are a company that does a lot of embroidery right there in Royal Scott. They're part of one of their leasees, you might say. Use some of their floor space inside the building there.
They finished 6th here last year, looking to improve upon that. Second frame now, game 2 for H&B Ball Factory. Tommy Jones with a pair of strikes in game 1.
Tommy a little unique in the way he puts his hand on the ball. Most good players put their fingers in, then lay their thumb in. He puts his thumb in, works it in, then lays his fingers in the hole. That's usually a byproduct of tending to drop the ball. And if you watch him when he gets to the foul line, he pulls the ball through very hard and very like a softball pitcher, bringing the ball through at the bottom. Here's a look at that. And watch how high the backswing is. And he'll keep it there, and then come through at the bottom very hard. And when you're pulling the ball that hard at the bottom, the tendency is to have it fall off your hand. And that's the reason he works that thumb in, so he won't lose the ball at the bottom of the swing.
And trouble. Open frame for H&B. .12-pin lead now for Unique Embroidery.
You see the smile on his face. He's getting up there. Lon Marshall's down there talking to him. He says, come on now, we got him now. We got him. Let's go now. And, you know, he's just trying to get the team loose and relaxed. His team also very young, except for Lon Marshall. But the experience that Lon has is what they're looking to help carry him through this opening match. And they hope to go on and win this tournament. This, as you mentioned, the last chance for anybody to go on to our grand finals, the championships. Title, it's all what it's all about. You know, we are the world champions. I like the sound of that.
World Match Play Team Champions is what we're all about here on the Brunswick World Team Challenge. Scouring the country, 21 teams have already qualified for the Silver Legacy Grand Championships in Reno. And our final national qualifier will join that field along with an international field.
We also got a bunch of good-looking bowlers besides these guys out there on the ladies' side. And, so that ought to be fun, too. The ladies have their championship at the same time the men do, and they'll, well, of course, both of those will be televised later on.
Coming up next month on this Regional Sports Network, coming up a bit high.
The first, really, you might say, weakness, and we started seeing this lane change a little bit. Remember when the anchor man, here's another look at that last shot, and watch this ball. He's playing just about where Chris Marshall was playing, and that's what his ball did. Remember how hard it hooked in the 10th frame? Well, that's what that ball did, exactly the same thing. Got to that same break point and then just made it a left turn. Tough spare. He wants to get both pins with the ball. That's why he's using his strike ball. He wants to hook it into it. That's how you do it, just like that.
Very nice spare for H&B Ball Factory, down 12 pins. We'll be back with more of this semifinal match from Princess Lanes here on the Team Challenge. Fourth frame, semifinal match. Meek Embroidery up by 11. And working on a spare here in the fourth frame. And here comes Chris Sand.
Got away with something. Obviously, when he let go of that one, it wasn't where he wanted it to be, and you can see by the look on his face, he's pretty pleased with the result. Here's another look at that shot. He's playing between the third and fourth arrow, getting the ball out to about the 12 board, and that one, before he was getting it out to about 10. That one, he just didn't give it enough room to get to hold the pocket line, and so he left basically an easy spare for the big lefty. He can throw this hard and straight cross lane at the 7th pin. See him checking his hand position to make sure he stays there. He doesn't want to go around this ball. He wants to throw it right up the back, just like that.
And the youngest member of this unique embroidery team at 22 on top of the corner pin, a 63-foot shot. Foul line to head pin, 60 feet. Of course, the pins are spread at 1 foot apart. Very similar to baseball. Pitcher throwing from mound to home plate. I got to look up who set that 60-foot distance as a means of testing
60 feet,
accuracy.
6 inches.
That's baseball. Bowling is 60 feet, foul line to head.
Right. And you know, you're trying to throw strikes both places. One from the pitcher's mound, one from the foul line here. That's the first time they've really made a good shot on this right-hand lane, and I hope they're communicating with each other because that's what team bowling is all about. And when I talk about experience, what I'm talking about when I say experience, when I talk about a Tommy Baker or someone of that stature, the experience they have is knowing the difference between the lanes changing and whether or not they made a good or bad shot. If you don't know if you made a good or a bad shot, obviously you can't make an adjustment. If you know the lane is changing, you can tell that to the other players, say, hey, this lane's starting to hook, we've got to make a move. I made a good shot, the ball reacted more than I expected it to, that kind of thing. That's what experience is all about, and that's what you have to learn and how to handle it and know when that's happening, and you tell your other players.
Fifth frame strike for Chris Marshall.
Here's another look at that shot by Chris Marshall. Now, he's moved in a little bit more to the center of the lane. He was playing third arrow on the right-hand lane. This one, he was between the third and fourth arrow. Another look at that shot, and he's going through the ball extremely well. A lot of confidence there. He knows he's made a good shot, and he's going to get good ball reaction. On the other hand, on this side of the ball return, they're still struggling, trying to figure out what to play.
And Weiss lost that ball.
Well, that one's, he just got it in the out-of-bounds area, and what that really is after they've dressed the lanes, the players practice for a while, they create a dry area and a wet area by how the ball rolls down the lane. The wet area being where the oil remains, and the dry where the oil has been moved away. Well, he got this through the dry into the wet outside of the dry, and it's never going to come back from there. It has no chance. He has to keep it in the wet that's to the left of the dry area, and then let it slide out into that dry and make it come back. Does that make sense to everybody, I hope?
Easier done than said. And a tray spare for Randy Weiss. That it happened, similar shot had happened to him in match play, and they called him Mr. 10 Frame at that point, so, or Mr. Phil Ball.
Here's another look at that with the spare shot, and you can see this one he doesn't get it near as wide, so it had a chance to get back, plus it was farther down the lane before he got it wide. The sooner you get it to the right, the more it's going to skid. The same thing will happen on the left-handers. If they get it too wide too soon, they won't come back. And that's the first time Lon Marshall has not struck. He's been perfect to this point, and that was a great shot. Just didn't strike, didn't carry the 7-pin. Again, this is a big guy. This is a big, strong man. Now, he's got a ball return that's going to be a problem for him. As big as he is, that ball return is definitely in Lon Marshall's way. You can see he's standing as close as he can to it. You couldn't see it in that shot, but he's got to get out, and he got it covered up. They call him Pops. They call him the old man, and he's showing him how to play it, though. He's 4 for 4 as far as hitting the pocket.
Interesting mix of ages on this team. He's Unique Embroidery Club. Lon Marshall, 57. Other 4 players ranging in age from 22 to 28. H&B lost some pins in count in that last exchange on the 3 spare. 17 pins the difference. Leaphart mixing, tripping the 3.
Well, you could hear the players in the background, his teammates, saying wheel, wheel, and what they mean by that is, come on, ball, start to flip. They want it to turn over.
And 18 pins for Unique Embroidery. 4 frames remaining in our semifinal match. And we'll be back with that when we return to Princess Lanes.
You're a winner, and you deserve recognition. In sanctioned leagues and tournaments, 2 million awards are handed out each year by the national governing bodies of bowling, the American Bowling Congress, the Women's International Bowling Congress, and the Young American Bowling Alliance.
But your membership card entitles sanctioned league bowlers to more than the awards program.
There's more than $1 million each for college scholarships and veterans hospitals, bowlers supporting their communities.
Every member has a chance to compete in thousands of special events, locally, nationally, and internationally.
Sanctioned leagues also provide for the standardization of rules and supplies, plus league prize money is bonded.
Equipment testing and research helps advance the sport.
Your membership card does all that.
And every lane is inspected annually by local association volunteers. In short, everything runs smoother, and sanctioned leagues are a lot more fun.
So have more fun and help shape the future of bowling by making sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies, the ABC, WIBC, or YABA.
Semifinal match, 7th frame. Unique Embroidery leads by 18 pins, working on a spare. And here's Chris Jones, member of the 1997 American Bowling Congress team champions. Tournament wrapping up recently in Huntsville, Alabama. 1998 ABC will make its way to the National Bowling Stadium next year. That's 10 in the 5th.
Well, the emotion is starting to show, and here it comes down to the frames where it's all what it's all about. This is the last time around for both teams. It's a 2-game total pin Baker system match, and an opportunity here for H&B Ball Factory to get 10 of those pins back with a strike right here. This is a big opportunity. They can't afford to waste this.
Open the cross and a double for H&B. Wry smile on Tommy Jones.
Well, it appears the right-hand lane is the one that's broke down the most or started to hook the most, and that's the problem they're having. They are afraid to get the ball wide because they don't feel it'll come back, and if they go more direct or deeper or more to the middle of the lane, the ball wants to hook a little early for them, so they're really having to struggle on the right-hand lane. They're going to need some luck to win this match. Unique seems to have the pair lined up on the left lane, and there he goes through the nose as soon as I said that, but they seem to have the better lane condition to play on at this point. Tough spare here, and there's a look at someone we all know.
John Jones, the general manager here at Princess Lanes. We certainly have enjoyed working this weekend with John and his staff.
John does a good job. He's got a lot of good people working for him, and he makes sure that everything gets done the way you'd want it to be. A
lot of events here at Princess Lanes. The ladies professionals bowl here. Lots of tournament action here in Pittsburgh.
Well, that was a big break for Unique Embroidery. Went through the nose, had a difficult spare, did manage to pick it up, so they maintain that little margin they do have, but on a strike and a chance to take the lead.
Come on! There it is. There's some of the fiery emotion you can find here in the World Team Challenge. Baker's scoring system makes for exciting team competition.
Here's another look at that shot, and you can see kind of a little more heavy forward roll in this ball, a little more ball speed, made it hold the line, and he just overpowered the lane with that shot, and that's really what a talented player can do in some of these situations. But you have to have the opportunity to be there and make it happen.
450 on the high roller 2-game series will be a $500 bonus, as H&B did take the lead with that last strike in the 8th frame. Chris Sand unable to strike here in the 9th.
Well, as so many of our matches do, this one will probably come down to the anchorman again, Mike, and we've got 2 good ones here. Chris Marshall on one team, and as it comes down to it, he will be the first one to finish.
And Brian Boers, assistant manager here at Princess Lanes. Enjoyed very much working with Brian and his very fine staff.
Brian's pretty uncomfortable with that tie on, I'll tell you. He likes to get down and get dirty and get nitty-gritty, so he didn't want to put that tie on. But
well, I hope he still has his tennis shoes on.
Yeah, he's a hard worker. All right, it's coming down to what it's all about. Here's a chance to set it up for the anchorman, and they're on 3 in a row, and this would really give them a substantial lead going into the 10th frame, something around the 19-pin margin. And they all know exactly what the score is, believe me. He's throwing a ball that hooks a lot here.
Get lucky.
Get lucky is the call. Not answered.
Well, it's down to the 2 guys that are getting paid the most. The guys that are playing anchor. They're the guys that have to come through when you need them, and that's why you've got them there. And it's going to go into that 10th frame with someone needing a double, somebody else needing a mark. We'll see what happens. First the spare. Very important spare here. Great shot.
We have an even match going into the 10th frame. Must have something to do with Pennsylvania. Last time we were in Pennsylvania, we had a tie match in the championship match. If we do have a tie match at the end of regulation, we would go to a 9th and 10th frame roll-off.
Well, actually, the advantage here is to Chris Marshall. He's on a lane he's comfortable with. He likes the ball reaction he's getting, and he gets to finish first and put the pressure on his opponent. So if he can get one more, you know, he's got nothing to lose, everything to gain. Just get up there and drill it. Let it go.
That tie match we had was at ABC West Lanes in the championship match. We've never had a tie in our semifinal match on television before.
You
Randy
can see
Weiss.
the drama and the pressure building on the faces of these young players.
Oh, and a sweet double.
Pretty hard to throw it any better than that, huh? My, that's coming through, handling that pressure extremely well. And if you've never experienced the fun and the thrill and the pressure of team bowling, this is what it's all about. And here again, sitting on the bench, knowing there's nothing they can do but wait until he's done and hope for a tie. So whatever he does, they have to match.
Wonder what thoughts are going through Randy Weiss's head as he prepares to match what Chris Marshall is doing.
This shot just as important as the others. A little more on this one. A little more on that one. He got 9-0. He's got to be pretty happy with that. That's the toughest one to throw, the last one.
Well, here's the situation. Randy Weiss needs 2 strikes. And then after that, 9 to tie and 10 to win. Roger Horst came up in this very same situation for the ESP computer software team in Mechanicsburg. Struck thrice to force the roll-off. Here's Randy Weiss.
Well, again, he got it outside the playable area into the wet zone, you might say, the out-of-bounds area, and it just didn't come back for him. There's bitter disappointment on lane 38, and there's a lot of elation on lane 37 because they're going on to Bowl Track Incorporated for the championship. So that should be a great match. But again, the young players, first time on television, I thought they played very well, Mike.
A lot of composure. 222, and then we'll follow that up with a score in the 190 range. 400 is a good score in a 2-game Baker match.
Especially to lose.
We are down to 2 teams as Unique Embroidery and Track Incorporated have that last shot at the Silver Legacy Legacy Grand Championships. And when we go around the bowling world, we'll take a look at some of the field that will be on hand in Reno at the National Bowling Stadium. Back with Around the Bowling World after this.
Now it's time to go around the bowling world, brought to you by the High Roller Tournament Series. The 5th season of Brunswick World Team Challenge bowling action will come to an exciting conclusion in August at the Silver Legacy Grand Championships to be contested at the National Bowling Stadium in Reno. Here's a look at some of the national qualifying teams and players who are headed to Reno. Lenny Blakey's 10th frame heroics last September allowed the shop to successfully defend its Portland title in the season opener, sponsored by Contour Power Grips.
Yep. And bang. There's one. My, oh my.
At Boulevard Lanes in Madison, Wisconsin, Lynn's Limited, hailing from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, ended a string of 7 Brunswick World Team Challenge TV appearances without a win. Gus Yannaris led his Lynn's team to a triumph in the Ho Chunk Casino Open at the end of October. ESP Computer Software made Brunswick World Team Challenge history by winning the Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania qualifier in the first BWTC Championship roll-off. Anchor Roger Horst struck out in regulation to force overtime and added a double in extra frames to pull out a thrilling match.
He did it again. He tripped the 3-pin forward again. Amazing.
Joe Natoli and Jace Peterson became the first bowlers to qualify for all 5 Team Challenge Grand Championships. Their Milwaukee-based Contour Power Grips Club captured the first stop of 1997 at Seminole Lanes in Seminole, Florida back in January. In the women's division, Marcy Williams will get a chance to bowl in the Brunswick World Team Challenge Grand Championships. Williams, after 11 previous tries and 5 second-place finishes, finally won with her Team Brunswick Contour Power Grip squad in the Fort Worth, Texas qualifier.
Marcy Williams has her championship.
In February, Team USA swept the Open Division and the Women's Division with a pair of victories at Woodland Bowl in Indianapolis, Indiana. Abba Trebda Fox of Cincinnati, Ohio, broke a string of 5 straight Brunswick World Team Challenge TV appearances without a victory by winning in Kendall, Florida in June. 1996 Bowling Writers Association of America Amateur Bowler of the Year and multi-ABC titleist Don Scudder led the way. The Silver Legacy Brunswick World Team Challenge Grand Championships will feature 22 Open Division champions, 6 Women's Division champions, and an international field featuring teams from Japan, China, Germany, Finland, and Korea in competition in both the $150,000 Open Division and $50,000 Women's Division championships. Around the Bowling World has been brought to you by the High Roller Tournament Series. Call 800-257-6179 for entry information. The Brunswick World Team Challenge from Princess Lanes in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania returns with our championship match after these messages.
The Brunswick World Team Challenge is brought to you by the Silver Legacy Casino, proud host of the 1997 Grand Championship event, August 24th through the 28th, with qualifying in the exciting finals at the National Bowling Stadium in Reno, Nevada. We are looking forward to that Grand Championship event, and here are the last 2 teams with a shot to attend the Open Division Championship. Unique Embroidery and Track Incorporated. Unique going 20 of 20 clean frames in the semifinal match.
And that is unique in itself. That's pretty hard to do, especially in this testing condition. Lon Marshall gets a good start, but it's the first time he's missed the pocket, and he's got to be pretty happy with that. Here's another look at that shot. Lon, I don't know if he made a bad shot or a good shot there. It's hard to tell with Lon because he goes through the ball so well. You can see he's got good balance. He's pretty happy with the result, though. There's no question about that. The look on his face.
Tom Baker leading off for Track Inc. Oh, yeah? Right back at you.
You saying we're even to Lon Marshall. Here's a look at the style or the form of Tom Baker, this 9-time PBA champion. Very deliberate style, very controlled arm swing, just gets it to shoulder high, plants the foot, brings the ball through very smoothly. Here you can see he's playing an extreme inside angle between the 4th and 5th arrow. But remember, this right lane seems to hook a little sooner and a little more than the left lane.
Chris Jones, second frame, working on a strike for Unique Embroidery.
Well, they sure don't have the jitters. They've already completed one match. They took care of H&B and in that opening match, so they should be pretty relaxed now in front of this large audience here at Princess Lane, and of course the national television cameras. This shouldn't be bothering them very much. Advantage in the opening frame should be to Unique Embroidery, and once the experience starts showing of Track Incorporated, it should even out very quickly, and then we'll see who's the better team.
Chris Jones on the spare for Unique Embroidery. As we take a look at our Contour Power Grips starting lineup, brought to you by the pioneers in the finger grip industry for Track Inc. Tom Baker, Bob Ujvari, Ron Sutton, Carl Kinyon, and Dave Guindon will anchor. More pros use Contour Power Grips. You should too. Here's Bob Ujvari, 210, qualified 6'11" and 6'54" in his 6 games of qualifying.
Well, there's a ball that was behind the head pin, hit extremely hard, but came in at such an extreme angle that he left the 4-pin. This is kind of a unique lead, but not unusual for a reactive resin bowling ball. See how far down the lane it gets, then breaks very sharply, and just nothing. He got behind the head pin so far that it kicked the 2-pin in front of the 4, and the head pin went around it. So they kind of got tangled up there.
Ujvari, a member of the 1993 Brunswick World Team Challenge. Grand champions. At that time, it was the National Team Challenge. Very first season. We have an even match. This is our 5th season of Brunswick World Team Challenge action. Ujvari looking to make a return trip to the Grand Championship event.
The format here, very briefly, was 84 teams entered, a full field again, and they all bowled 6 qualifying games, regular team bowling. They went the top 10 teams advanced into the match play, and they bowled 10 2-game Baker matches to decide the top 3 teams that you see today. And here's some of the scores, the high games that were bowled in that qualifying round, Mike.
And some tough scoring conditions, but every once in a while they pull a big game out. 4 1100s is very rare. Dave Guindon, anchor for Track with a 299, just missed the Lin Shu perfect game bonus in qualifying. Solid 10-pin, kept him away from $1,000.
We'll take another look at Sutton one of these chances when we get an opportunity to watch that change, different style, and here's some more high series.
Guindon also led the series with 719. Only 3 700 series among the 84 teams in 6 games of qualifying. Guindon's 230 average top of the field.
By a bunch.
Ron Sutton on the washout. 8 out. We'll be back with more of this first game in our championship match from Princess Lanes. It's Track Incorporated and Unique Embroidery. Who will go to Reno? We'll be back after this.
I take the same route to the local pro shop. I wear the same boxers on every show. I watch the same TV program every week. I listen to the same CD every night. I eat the same thing on Wednesdays. I am the same man I used to be. I have a different ball for every lane, but they're all from the same company.
When it comes to making quality bowling shoes, no company does it better than Linz. And now Linz has designed an entirely new approach with the Classic Extra. The Linz Classic Extra offers the ability to change the sliding characteristics of both the sole and the heel, providing virtually unlimited options. If you find the approaches are a bit slick or tacky, the Classic Extra enables you to compensate by simply replacing the color-coded slide inserts. Don't settle for anything less than the best. Classic Extra from Linz.
Welcome back to Princess Lanes, 4th frame of our championship match. First game of 2, 16-pin lead for Unique Embroidery.
Chris Sand working his hand into the ball, get the right feel. He wants the ball to feel just exactly the way he wants it to feel when he's getting ready to rotate that wrist and get all that power at the bottom of the shot right there.
Solid and a double for Unique Embroidery.
Here's another look at that. The rotation, watch the ball pick up rotation right there and just charge into the pocket area, the left side of the head pin, and Chris is out of frame. He's running him out 4 lanes away.
Carl Kinyon now for Track Inc. Kinyon's qualifying series, 585 and 633. 6 around the 10.
This team bowled so well all through this tournament, especially in the qualifying rounds. And you can see that they led by far in the averages, averaging 212.
Led all qualifiers at 212. Unique Embroidery, though, 8 and 2 in match play. H&B making the biggest jump, qualifying at 9 and moving all the way up into the numbers 3 position. And back-to-back opens early for Track.
Major mistakes by the team with all the experience here, and they're giving an opportunity to Lon Marshall and Chris Marshall, who you see right now, the young son of Lon Marshall, getting ready to bowl in the anchor position on a double, chance to extend their lead, giving them a chance to get out to a big early lead. And don't want to do that. It's sometimes very hard to get a team down once they get up.
47-pin lead for Unique Embroidery after back-to-back opens. Dave Guindon really needs to get things going here for Track.
All right, here's something that you don't really want to try at home if you're an average once a week or twice a week league bowler, unless you have a very good chiropractor. Watch this guy where he's playing and how much power he gets into the rotation of this bowling ball. You can't get any farther left than this. Watch this. And just no luck at all. Now, if you really look back on things that happened here, they've made really only one bad shot. They shot in the 4th frame, was a good shot. They saw the 10-pin, and they missed the spare. Here, Dave Guindon, another look at his style as he goes to the foul line. Very deliberate player. The power in the forearm and the wrist rotation. Look at that wrist, that strength wrist and that wrist, and that tremendous lift at the bottom of the swing to get all that power. But he still only have to knock down 10 pins, and unfortunately, he only got 9. Spares are just as important.
47 pins. First game, though. We'll turn things around and bowl our second game in our Baker scoring system match.
And a chance to add to that, and Lon Marshall has been just unbelievable so far in both these 2 matches.
4 or 5 strikes. 6th frame. Make it 5 of 6 and 2 in this game. And the Unique Club building momentum early in this 2-game match.
Another look at Lon Marshall, just kind of letting that ball fall off his hand, not doing a lot to it as far as applying any extra or unnecessary rotation. And this is pretty good movement for a big old guy, isn't it? Huh? He's running it out. You don't want to get in front of him. He may not stop. He run right over you. Like be run over by about a 250-pound fullback there.
Baker solid in the pocket. He had crossed over for a strike in the first. Back with the conclusion of game 1 from Princess Lane, 67-pin lead for Unique Embroidery.
I've basically used contour power grips my whole professional career. I like the consistent feel they give me ball to ball. I use the oval thumb grip. That's my favorite product, and I'm going to continue to use it as long as I bowl professionally.
More top players use contour power grips. You should too.
Looking for more strikes and more bowling fun? Then look no further than Going for the Gold with Team USA coach Fred Borden. As today's top instructor, Coach Borden will show you ways to reach your full potential. Professional bowlers Mike Albee and Leila Wagner work with Coach Borden to show you the sure way to higher scores. This 12-lesson video is available for only $24.95.
Absolute power corrupts. Abso-freaking-lutely!
It's not enough to love the game. You gotta love to win.
Don't roll with the punches. Throw them.
Jeannie Nacarado, 3-time WIBC titleist and 1995 Brunswick World Team Challenge Grand Champion for Contour Power Grips.
I use Contour Power Grips because they add more revolutions to my game, which in turn helps me to score better.
Big lead for Unique Embroidery. 7th frame, first game, but we do play 2 here in the Baker system, and things can change in a hurry.
Right now, Unique Embroidery riding high, and they've got things going their way. They won that opening match. They're very comfortable out there now, and they really like what's happening on that left-hand lane. Remember, in the opening match, the right-hand lane seemed to be the one that was changing the quickest or being the most difficult to control the ball. If they can get a big lead, they might just hold on to it on that right-hand lane. You hear Lon Marshall in the background. He's the inspirational leader and very talented player and coach for his team, and he's trying to get that ball to stop hooking, but for some reason bowling balls don't listen very well. Here's another look at Lon Marshall, and he's feeling the heat and doing everything he can to guide this young team into this championship. He really wants that trip to Reno. Well, they stopped the string of strikes, but they still have to fill the frames, make the spares. Every mark gets them that much closer to Reno.
Track on a strike. Ujvari looking for the first double for Track here in the 7th frame, making his 4th Team Challenge TV appearance.
And you don't see any panic in the eyes of these guys. They're ready to play. A lot of experience. They're not afraid. They know it's 2 games, total pins, and they know there's plenty of room to come back here with good shots. Or bad shots. Either way, as long as they fall down, that's really what it's all about. And, he doesn't look real happy about that, but he's very happy with the result, believe me. This one left of the target all the way, never had a chance to skid as far as necessary, keep the ball on line. This right-hand lane, if they can just survive this opening game, they have a good chance to score big on lane 37.
Embroidery's lead down to 46. Scott Smith working on a spare in the 8th. Ooh, that could tighten things up.
Well, that's disaster at this point, but I shouldn't say disaster, but it's also, you know, a little chink in the armor, you might say, I guess. The washout, the 1, 2, 4, 10. Here's another look at that shot. The ball just never does go into a roll. It skids all the way down the lane, and when it finally did get a chance to turn left, it was just way too late. No opportunity there. Not that hard to spare here on this particular lane condition. So using a spare ball down the left side, and just got too much of the head pin. And as you say, that tightens things up, Mike. Now only 37 pins separating these 2 teams, and what can happen here very quickly is that Track 2, before this game's over even, could be right back in the hunt.
Sutton left a washout on his last frame back in the 3rd. See what kind of adjustment he's got here.
Watch the style here. This is a very unique style, very strong, powerful man. Again, in the pocket, but just no luck. Let's take a look at the style here at Sutton. Watch him go to the foul line. Watch the wrist. He gets the ball kind of in a figure-8 position, then rotates it back under, and then cocks it and shovels the ball basically on the lane. It's not really a swing so much as using his upper body strength to kind of a Don Carter type release where you push the ball out on the lane. He's very strong. Takes a lot of big strength up in the shoulder area to do this, and of course powerful forearms.
And what was once 57 pins is now down to 32 in the space of only 2 frames. 25 pins made up by Track.
Now, Chris needs to load it up in the 10th for his cohort, Chris Marshall. And here's the guy that can do it. He can set it up for him by getting a strike here in the 9th. He's the setup man. Of course, Chris Marshall's the guy they need to throw 2 strikes in the 10th. And they're right back in there with a good, strong opening game.
No solid 10 that time for Sand.
Well, that one even got Lon Marshall off the bench. That's doing something there now. And Lon was pretty comfortable there, and they made him get up and slap hands. You've got to be one of the guys. And the same opportunity here for Carl. Carl has to get up and get a strike and load it up for his anchor man so they can have an opportunity to get as many pins as they can in this 2-game match, opening game.
Kinyon was the 1990 Bowlers Journal doubles champion. Back around the 10.
Back-to-back, ringing 10s for Kinyon. And remember last time he missed the 10 pin. Can't afford to have that happen again. Here he's going over to get his spare ball, which is about a $300 Brunswick bowling ball, somewhere in that neighborhood. This the unique Helix bowling ball by Brunswick. Not many guys use this for a spare ball, and that's 2 in a row he's missed. He's having a little problem with the approach, and right now that's really demoralizing the other 4 members of his team because they don't expect that out of Mr. Kinyon. He's usually a very good spare shooter. Chris Marshall on the approach, smelling blood. Mike, this looks like an opportunity they can't afford to let get away.
Strike up and a 44-pin lead can increase with a strike here in the 10th.
Boy, has he been tough. In that opening match when he struck out to put the pressure on, and here he is again when they need him the most. And this is what he's here for. And this is why he's got that kind of a release and that kind of style and the ability to do this. He likes this situation. These kind of guys get up there and they say, just give me an opportunity. Just give me a chance. I'd love to be in this position. And they get up and they get it done.
Talking to Chris beforehand, he said when he's in this spot, just give me the ball.
Just give me the ball. This is what makes them feel alive. They just love this feeling. Got away with one there. Just let it go a little early on his thumb. You can see he's just having a little problem hanging on the ball. But, what he did is he got the first strike, gives him a score of 223 with the spare and a substantial lead, minimum of 43 pins and possibly more after the opening game. Track Incorporated bowled a good game, really, as far as making shots are concerned. They missed 2 easy spares that never should have happened, but they did hit the pocket well. The key was they didn't carry the 10 pin, and then by missing 2 of them, they actually contributed to this big lead that Unique Embroidery is enjoying right now. You guys can creep around that ball return and still make a good shot. Well, I'll tell you what, that's awful hard to do, folks, and even a player as good as Dave is can't do that very often, continually very well, and this had no chance. He might be better off to start on the left-hand lane approach and walk into this shot rather than trying to walk around that ball return. That would be fun to watch, huh? How about if he jumped over the ball return? What do you think about that?
I've not seen anyone jump over, but I have seen people navigate.
That would be fun to watch. You know, it's kind of like
obstacle bowling.
Yeah, obstacle bowling.
We'll be back with game 2 of this championship match of the Brunswick World Team Challenge. And Dan Gluss, bowling writer and radio personality here in Pittsburgh, got us some nice coverage for the Brunswick World Team Challenge as we move to game 2 in our championship match. Unique Embroidery won the first game 223-167 and take a 56-pin advantage into this second game. Total pins determine our winner. Tom Baker with a pair of strikes. Make it 3.
And Baker getting him off to the kind of start they really need if they're going to have a chance to get back into this match. But what's going to be the determining factor, in my opinion, is the right-hand lane. Lane 38 has been the most difficult, and Unique Embroidery, of course, must finish there. They're 29 out of 30 marks, as you can see in the graphics on the screen, but what they have going for them right now are 2 left-handers, and the left side seems to be much more playable than the right side. So if the lefties can keep them in there like that, they're going to be hard to catch.
Lon Marshall, 6 of 7 strikes.
And the other one was a solid 7-pin that he didn't carry. Of course, he had one Brooklyn in there, but who's counting? Bob Ujvari, this guy is, he's been around a long time. He's been a good player for a number of years and always good when you need him. And he's a guy that could just take Tom Baker's strike and just add right to it right now. Oh, look at here. There's a wow. He had that head pin dancing and did a lot of damage, kicking the 2-pin forward, the 8-pin straight back. Let's take another look at that shot. Now watch the head pin. Watch what it does after the ball. Look at this. The ball's way behind the head pin. It goes to the wall, comes back, kicks the 4-pin back into the 2-pin, and then, of course, they just jumped all over the 7 and the 8 back there.
Chris Jones for Unique Embroidery, chance to match that double.
More importantly, they must fill frames. They can't make major mistakes like that. They got away with one. Had the washout, got away with it. They have to fill frames, because if they do that, that means track has to throw a lot of strikes, and we know that's tough in the Baker system. Another look at that shot. The ball, as it enters the pocket area, it completely misses the head pin, and look at the last pin out, the 10 pin. Very fortunate there. Could have been a much more difficult spare. Now they just can't make mental errors. They have to be careful. They have to think all the time. Stand up there with some confidence and make good shots. Make your spares. Gotta hurry. Now see, that's careless. That's a major mistake. Not thinking, and now's when Lon Marshall back there sitting on the bench to cut. Now listen, guys, we've got to talk about this. Lon just sitting there on his hands a little bit, and kind of wondering well, maybe I shouldn't say anything. I don't know what Lon's going through with Lon's mind, but he's got to rally the troops a little bit. He can't have anything like that happening, because that's an opportunity for track just to jump right on him.
From 56 down to 22, and can take it to 12 with a strike. Third frame, mixing for the strike, and we've got ourselves a championship match. Track cuts the lead to 12.
And it happened a whole lot faster than Unique Embroidery thought it would, I'll guarantee you. And there's 2 hits in a row that were kind of fortunate to carry, but those are the things that happen if you just get out there and grind and keep the ball in play, and that's what they're doing.
3 in a row is a good start toward the High Roller Tournament Series high score bonus. Pay $500 in 450 series and 240 games.
All right, another very simple spare here. The 4-pin, good shot, very good shot here. He hit the pocket like he should. Kept the ball in play, good ball speed. Not timid at all, very aggressive. Now make the spare. All right, just got to hit it.
Unique hanging on to that 12-pin lead. XXX for track, 4th frame.
And it doesn't get any easier in this lineup. You go from top to bottom. It's a very strong, very talented, and as we mentioned many times, experienced 5 players.
Oh my, 4 in a row for track, cutting the lead to 2 pins.
Now there's some power there. That ball hit so hard from an extremely inside angle. Watch how this ball finishes in the pocket. Watch where it goes when it goes into the pit area. Look at this, solid in the pocket. It actually rolls over the 8-pin spot. That's power. No deflection in that ball. They look a little upset, don't they? I mean, they look like they're really out to hurt somebody here. I love to watch this young man bowl. Stylish left-hander. Reminds me so much of Parker Jr., the 3rd, I should say.
Chris Sand with a strike. 2-pin lead.
Trying to rally the troops a little bit. You see him turn around and say, come on now, let's go, boys. And this is what they need. They need someone like this to get them inspired a little bit. Don't just sit on the bench and take it. Get out there and attack back. And that's what he's doing right now. He says, here it is. Now I set it up for you, Chris Marshall. Go get him.
Interesting, in talking to Dave Guindon before this match, they had led qualifying and led through Baker match play. This is not the kind of team that's going to panic, is what Guindon said. And they have not. Can take the lead with a strike, 5th frame.
Best shot of the day for Dave Guindon, and unfortunately it didn't carry, but they had a great start going there. Now an opportunity for Unique Embroidery maybe to turn the momentum around. Chris Marshall's been very strong in the clutch for them, and this would be an opportunity for him to get up there and throw a strike, double up, and add on to that little bit of a lead that they've been able to maintain up to this point. Spares just as important for track as they are for Unique Embroidery. Can't be careless. That got his heart rate up.
You want to explain that, Earl?
It just fell right off his thumb here. And here's a look at it. You see the ball hit the lane so quickly, he couldn't get it out in front of him, and so he lost control of it and went left. And he felt very fortunate to make that spare. He turned around, and I'm sure his heart was in his mouth when that ball was going down the lane. Here's the man of the day, you might say, the man of the hour. He's the one that's been doing it the most, when they need it the most. Oh, and another great shot with a solid 10. Very disappointing for his team, but again, they're still in there. Nothing to worry about. Just make your spare. Another look at the ball. Watch the as the ball hits the pocket. You see the 6-pin skipping off into the channel and not having enough forced to get back out of there and hit the 10-pin hard enough to knock it down. But make the spare. That's what we're looking for. That's all you have to do at this point.
Five frames remaining to determine the champion. Here from Princess Lanes. We'll be back with that conclusion after this. Last chance for each bowler to add to their team score, and Tom Baker up in the 6th frame.
Well, he's up there because he's the guy that can get him started. He got him started at 4-bagger, and here's another good shot, but he doesn't quite get back. Tom very disappointed with his results there. 9 times he's been the champion on the PBA Tour, and he won last year and the year before. He's definitely Hall of Fame material for the PBA. He'll get there one of these years. He's on the ballot next year, as far as I know. Oh,
just enough. Nothing like the relief of seeing that pin go
I can't
down.
imagine him throwing a strike ball at this and throwing it so carelessly. You know, not a lot of ball speed. And, again, spares are so key. Lon Marshall up to get things going again for H&B Embroidery. Excuse me, Unique Embroidery. H&B's gone. This team beat that team.
Oh, and they're up, and Marshall, 7 of 8 strikes, pacing this Unique Embroidery team.
Well, I think that's the key. If they win this, it'll be because of the 2 left-handers. The 2 lefties have been really strong for them, setting them up in the 9th, and of course, Lon Marshall running this one out. And be careful, Lon. Well, he says, I'm done for the day. I've done all I can, boys. It's all up to you now. Where's the oxygen?
Oh, a light pocket hit carrying for Chris Jones, and a double for Unique Embroidery.
Here's another look at Bob Ujvari's last shot here. Light again. Remember what happened to him before in the right-hand lane when he had this hit? He left the 4-pin. Standing. This time, he had enough impetus on the head pin to come off the wall and trip out the 4. Ball breaking so sharply in the pocket area.
Ujvari on the strike. Now Chris Jones for Unique Embroidery with a chance to double here in the 7th.
Got away again. Now it's very important to make this spare, not get careless again, as he did in the 2nd frame of this 2nd game. He got away with what could have been a washout, left only the 1-2, and missed both of them. You can't get the ball out to the right and expect it to hook back. And that's what he did on his previous spare shot. So if he does that on this baby split, basic leaves, you know, he left only the 3-pin, but it could have been worse. Easy spare, hard and straight. Nothing fancy. Just like that. That's the way.
Princess Lanes championship match, 8th frame, 13-pin lead. Rather 14-pin lead for Unique Embroidery. Strike up for track can cut that lead to 4.
Unique Embroidery like a racehorse, kind of staggering for the wire now. They're hoping to run out of frames before track can get anything big going, but on a strike and a chance to really bring it within only 4 pins with a strike here. And that's, look out. Oh, I thought he was going to get some luck there. Had a pin rolling across the deck. Thought it was going to hit the 10-pin, but the washout, and that's critical at this point. Can't afford the open. Really needs to pick this spare up. Remember, they're on a strike, so they don't lose any count here. So if he picks it up, they're still only 14 pins behind. Be interesting to see how he plays using the strike ball. He's going to hook it then if he's using the strike ball. Hard. Not only does he not make it, but he lost more count by missing the head pin, so that really drastically changes things here from being 14 pins down. You know, basically it's up to 26 now, almost double the lead, and Unique Embroidery can afford to breathe a little easier if they can continue to fill frames.
Scott Smith, 8th frame.
Get lucky. Oh, what a
held the
great shot.
pocket.
What a great shot. Here's another look at it. Lots of ball speed here. End over end roll, not a lot of turn on it, just lining it to the pocket. And when in doubt, as my friend Ernie Schlegel says, when in doubt, throw the high hard one, and that's what he did.
Carl Kinyon needs an X here in the 9th for track.
running out of frames. It's the 9th frame, as you mentioned, Mike, and if they don't get it going now, and he did. Here we go again.
Down to the anchor men. What do you think? Down to the anchor players. Although Chris Sand can throw a little sand in Track's face with a double in this situation in his 9th.
Boy, he's been tough. This ball will have some speed on it, I'll guarantee you, and it'll have some revolutions on it. He will get it down there in a hurry. He's locking that little finger in there, tucked under. What that does is give you a lot more lift with your ring finger.
Oh, a little high, carried everything.
What a big shot that was. That could be the shot of the tournament for this team, because what it does, it puts Chris Marshall up on the 10th on a strike and in a very commanding position. The team up by 36 pins at this point. You see him running it out. A lot of emotion in this team. Remember, it's Lon Marshall, 57 years old, bowling with 4 young men, one of them his son. And he's been the guiding influence, you might say a steadying influence on the team. And he's helped him get through all this, the trials and tribulations of this chance to go to Reno, the Silver Legacy Championships. That's it right there. That's a winner for Unique Embroidery. And this is we're going to be, once they figure out the score, they're going to be a very happy group. They're just starting to figure it out. Lon's scratching heads and saying, hey, we did it, guys. How about that?
Boy, and Chris Sand, key, all 4 strikes in his opportunities for Unique Embroidery. Going to lead this team to the final qualification spot for the Silver Legacy Grand Championship event of the Brunswick World Team Challenge.
Well, you hate to see a team dominate like this and then not win, but, you know, it always comes down to that last one. You've got to win one more match, and they just weren't up to it today, and it's pretty obvious that Unique Embroidery was. This Unique Embroidery team with clutch performances by this young man, Chris Marshall, and of course the 2 lefties helping them extensively to get through this, keep them in the match all the way through, especially on the tough right-hand lane. Chris Marshall has been the man of the hour. He just keeps throwing it in the pocket, and when they needed him in that first match is where he was really tough, the 10th frame. Fun to watch. Fun to watch kids like this perform under pressure, and this is what makes them into old men like Dave Kinyon and all those guys later on in the experience.
It's a fun game, exciting team competition as we look forward to not only the Grand Championship event, but to our 6th season of Brunswick World Team Challenge action, opening up in September at Hollywood Bowl in Portland, Bowling Square Palace in Columbus, Ohio, Laurel Lanes, where Open and Women's Division competition will take place October 18th. Cypress Bowl, 2nd time we've been there in November. Looking forward to the 6th season of team bowling. Get your team involved. ABC members. Call the World Team Challenge hotline for information, 414-423-3387. We'll be back to meet Unique Embroidery as they are headed to Reno.
You're a winner, and you deserve recognition. In sanctioned leagues and tournaments, 2 million awards are handed out each year by the national governing bodies of bowling, the American Bowling Congress, the Women's International Bowling Congress, and the Young American Bowling Alliance.
But your membership card entitles sanctioned league bowlers to more than the awards program.
There's more than $1 million each for college scholarships and veterans hospitals, bowlers supporting their communities.
Every member has a chance to compete in thousands of special events, locally, nationally, and internationally.
Sanctioned leagues also provide for the standardization of rules and supplies, plus league prize money is bonded.
Equipment testing and research helps advance the sport.
Your membership card does all that.
And every lane is inspected annually by local association volunteers. In short, everything runs smoother, and sanctioned leagues are a lot more fun.
So have more fun and help shape the future of bowling by making sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies, the ABC, WIBC, or YABA.
The Brunswick World Team Challenge is brought to you by Brunswick. Bowling is sold on Brunswick worldwide. By Contour Power Grips, the pioneers of the finger grip industry. More pros use Contour Power Grips. You should too. By Keepsake, designer and manufacturer of championship ring awards. by Bud Light, proud sponsors of bowling. Make it a Bud Light. And by the American Bowling Congress and the Women's International Bowling Congress, providing championship service to sanctioned leagues across the United States. Make sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies.
And here are our champions, right here. You did a wonderful job. Unique embroidery all the way from Michigan area, and it was just seemed to be your day, Lon Marshall.
I know, we bowled so good. These kids are so much fun to bowl with. They pump you up, and we love this tournament. And we came through. We beat a real good team. I don't know how it happened, but it did, and I'm sure glad.
Well, you guys were outstanding. You got the trip to Reno. You must be really looking forward to that.
We are looking forward to it. In fact, one of our guys is probably going to have to postpone his wedding a couple of days.
Well, maybe you can do it in Reno. Right on my left here is Brian Boris, and he's the assistant manager here at Princess Lanes in Pittsburgh. And Brian, you're going to make a presentation.
On behalf of Princess Lanes, I'd like to congratulate you and good luck in Reno.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it.
And they also received the Brunswick bowling balls, the keepsake rings, and the Lynn shoes. So it's going to be a wonderful week for you guys, and we're looking forward to it in Reno, of course.
So are we.
It's going to be a great week.
Appreciate it.
One more question very quickly. Lon, you guys seem to be the left-handers, kept you guys in the match to me.
You know, it took 5 of us to get here. I bowled terrible in the qualifying, and the guys held me in there. And today, you know, I just threw strikes. I don't know how, I just did.
Well, you were great. And thank you for being with us. We'll see you in the championships.
The next Brunswick World Team Challenge telecast is the Women's Division Grand Championship event from the National Bowling Stadium in Reno, Nevada. Check your regional sports network listings for dates and times. For Earl Anthony, this is Mike Jakubowski. So long from Princess Lanes in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This has been an ABC Eagle Productions telecast.